Hello everyone, welcome back to the GeekBlend. I'm Jeff, and welcome back to another Wandavision review. This time we're reviewing episode 5. The episode at the time does not have a title. So let's just go ahead and get into it, and I will warn you guys, just like I've done in each video, if you don't want to be spoiled by this review, and you want to watch it, then go watch it, and then come back and watch the review. And I will say that on this episode specifically, you don't want to be spoiled if you're wanting to watch this and have nothing spoiled for you, because there's a massive thing that happens in this episode. Towards the end, we will get into it, but a huge spoiler. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled, click away, come back after you watch the episode. So, all right, we're going to get into it. The episode starts out, and it's in, looks like the 80s era. They've got, like, the high-waisted, like, jeans on, and, like, suspenders, and, like, flannel and stuff, and then they do the opener is very Family Ties-esque, with, like, Family Matters, Full House, all kinds of 80s shows kind of thrown in there, like Step by Step as well. Like, it's very much 80s kind of shows, like for the intro. And in the beginning, when the neighbor, played by Catherine Hahn, comes over and talks to them about the babies, she literally stops talking. She's like, "Do you mean to do that again? Should I do that? Should we start from the top?" And then Wanda's like, What are you talking about?" And Vision is noticing things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. Like, he pulls her aside and is like, "What the hell's that about?" And Wanda's like, plays it off like, "Oh, no, she's just confused, and she just got confused for a moment, but she's fine now. See?" It's just really weird shit's happened in this episode. This is one of the ones that where Vision is starting to understand that this is not right. What's happening here is not right. Like, they get into a confrontation at the end of the episode, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. We do see the outside world. When they go to the outside world, we hear kind of like that glitch when you go through the barrier for Westview and out of Westview. They're talking about Monica Rambeau. She's in, looks like getting an MRI or an X-ray. They have to redo, they say they have to redo the MRI or the X-ray because the scans are blank. There's nothing on them. And I'm sure that will come up later, but they don't get into it again. She's like, "I'm not doing that again. There's a briefing. I need to go into the briefing." We go to the briefing room. Jimmy Woo's FBI agent is with Darcy Lewis. They introduce Darcy to Monica Rambeau. And that's when they go to the meeting, and it's ran by director Tyler Hayward, played by Josh Stamberg, who's basically being set up to be a bad guy in this episode, who's doing things that he's not telling people. He's calling Wanda a terrorist. She kind of is, though. Like, his thing is that she's controlling a whole town without them knowing what's happening. Like, she's taking all these people hostage. He calls her a victimizer. She's not the victim, she's the victimizer. All the people in the town are victims, and she's the victimizer. He says that out loud. There's some back and forth between him and Monica Rambeau. They're disagreeing what's happening, but then he shows footage of her breaking into a top secret facility and stealing the Vision's, they call him the Vision, the Vision's body. And he's trying to make his point that this is a terrorist act. What she's doing is terrorism. Monica Rambeau argues with him, saying that it isn't because there's no political motivation. She thinks it started as an accident, but Wanda is controlling everything. Everybody. She said when she was in there, it was painful. It was agonizing what was happening to her. Like, she didn't know what was happening. She was just doing stuff that she didn't want to do. She was being controlled and manipulated. So he's using that to label her as a terrorist because of the things that happened to Monica Rambeau when she was inside, and the things that happened we will talk about here in a minute, like when people inside the thing come to. So we'll talk about that, because apparently what Wanda's doing to them is severely painful and excruciating. But they also talk about in this episode that, Jimmy Choo, they're talking about Wanda's powers and what happened was when Monica Rambeau went in there, the clothes she was wearing, which was a bulletproof vest, Wanda takes that material and sets the structure of it to what she wants. So she uses actual material, just changes the cellular configuration to make it what she wants. So Monica Rambeau has a theory. She goes in and finds her outfit from when she came out of the hex, is what they're calling it, because it's hexagon shaped, whatever. That's what they're labeling this thing. It's called the hex. And she shoots her clothes, shoots at her clothes, and they're trying, what are you doing? It bounces off the bullets. The bullets come off it like you would shoot at a bulletproof vest. So we know now that what Monica was wearing inside of the hex in Wanda's alternate reality is based off the material she wore when she went in there, because she had a bulletproof vest on. So it's Kevlar. 90% Kevlar was the outfit that she was wearing. So we know that she's actually manipulating real life stuff. It's not all figments of the imagination. You're seeing real things inside the zone, like it's inside the hex, inside this alternate reality. Everything is real. She's recreating things out of actual already, like stuff that's already there. She's recreating it to fit what's inside of her, you know, what she wants to be in this reality. So that's pretty cool. They also talk about her power level and how, like, she didn't think that, like Darcy mentioned, she didn't think she was that powerful. Also, Jimmy Choo mentions right there that she would have stopped Thanos if it wasn't for the, I forgot what he said, but if you go back to Endgame, she was kicking his ass. Like, she was about to kill him. He ordered an airstrike from his ships, and his people were like, no, that's going to kill all of our troops. And he's like, I don't care, do it. Because I went back and watched the scene that they were talking about, and yeah, she was about to kill him. So her power level is growing and growing and growing. And we know from the comics, if you've read the comics, her power level in the comics, Scarlet Witch's power level is off the charts. Like, off the charts what she can do. I think this episode pretty much confirmed that she brought Vision back to life. Because, so going back inside the alternate reality, their babies are there, but all of a sudden they're toddlers. And they can talk. They're like 5 years old. They find a puppy. The puppy gets into the neighbor's bushes and dies because it ate too many of the azalea leaves. Basically, the little kids are like wanting to like erase the pain by morphing into older kids. And she's like, don't age, accept this. And things happen. There are rules in life. And they keep saying to her, Mommy, you can bring him back to life. You can do that. And even the neighbor is like, you can do that? Knowing that there is powers and things involved. Like, she starts using her powers in front of people. She makes a dog collar out of thin air. Vision pulls her aside and is like, what are you doing? Stop doing that in front of people. She's like, I'm not going to hide anymore. She's like, you shouldn't either. But it's insanity, like what's happening. Like, I'm pretty sure she can bring things to life. We're seeing Vision alive again. He is alive. I think this episode confirmed it. Also, Vision goes to work. He's on the computer. He gets an email from outside, from Sword. And he erases it off the screen. The whole office, of course, inside the reality is like, oh, it's a prank email. Norm, the other character he interacts with a lot at work, Vision puts his hands on his head and brings him out of whatever's happening to him. And he comes back into who he is in real life. He starts freaking out. Like, where's my phone? I got to call my sister. I got to do this. You know, what she's doing to me, it hurts. It's agony. She's controlling me. And he's like, who's controlling you? And he starts to realize what's happening. Vision does. And he puts his hands back on his head and he zaps him back into the alternate reality, like, mindset that he was in, that Wanda's controlling. So Wanda is doing this to every single person in this community, and it's excruciating and it's agony what she's doing to their minds. All they can do is hear what she's telling them to do. That's it. Also, they send in a drone from that era. So basically, they come up with a theory that if they send in something from that era, it will actually show up in that era as that object. You know, they sent the drone in the first episode, and it came out as like a toy helicopter because they didn't have drones back then. So it came out as a toy helicopter with a Sword logo. And so they actually sent in a drone that was an 80s drone, technology from back then. And they see Wanda. She sees it. Her eyes go red, and the thing, we lose visual of what's seeing. But the director, unbeknownst to Monica Rambeau, has armed it with a missile, and he tells the guys to, like, fire at her. Monica Rambeau realizes what's happening. She's like, what are you doing? Stop, don't do this. And all of a sudden they hear that there's something happening at the barrier. So they all go outside, and Wanda comes out. And she's pissed, and she's like, this is the last time you're going to interfere with what's happening in here. You leave me alone. This is what I'm doing. Everybody's weapons with laser sights are on her. You can see like 15 laser sights on her, like right here on her chest, that she's being, that they're pointing at her, like to make sure she doesn't do anything. She uses her powers to have everybody turn their guns on the director. But she says, you're not going to do this again. You'll never come in here. I'm not going to stop. This is mine now. You're not going to fuck with me anymore. Leave me the fuck alone, basically is what she said. And Monica Rambeau's trying to, like, talk to her and say, look, you trusted me on some level in there to deliver your babies. You know that I'm not trying to hurt you. It wasn't my idea to send the missile in there. That was their idea. I didn't want that. And After that, though, Wanda wants nothing to do with it, goes back in there, and the barrier changes to this, like, red color. So I'm guessing she's keeping anything from coming inside now. So that's the theory going forward, that now there's nothing can get in. We go back inside. Her and Vision have a confrontation. It starts in the kitchen. He's like, are you controlling everything? Like, what is this? He can't remember who was before Westview. He has no idea what happened, how he was born. He doesn't remember Ultron or anything outside of this. He just remembers Westview and everything that's happened so far. But he knows something else is going on. And he's like, what are you hiding from me? What's outside of Westview? And she's like, nothing that you want to see is outside of Westview. You're the twins' father. It's not good enough for you. And the doorbell rings. And she's like, I didn't do that. He's like, at this point, I don't believe you. Statistics are stacked against you. You're doing everything. Everything you are controlling and manipulating everything in here. So I don't believe you. So she goes to the door. She opens the door with a very, very shocked look on her face. Like, super shocked. And we see the back of someone's head. And I thought for a second I knew who it was, but then I didn't. And the alarm is still going off on the outside of the barrier. And Darcy sees on the TV that Wanda's like looking at something, like freaking out at somebody at the door. And you see Vision go behind like Wanda and like, Wanda, who is this? And they show who's at the door. It's Quicksilver. But not Quicksilver from Age of Ultron. It's Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men movies, played by Evan Peters. Darcy even says, did they recast Pietro? And yes, it's Quicksilver from the X-Men movies, multiverse confirmed, right here. He says, can I get a squeeze from my sister? Or something like that. And they hug. And that's it. That's the end of the episode. I'm sure I missed a ton of shit. I'm sure I did. This thing has ramped it up to now another level. I think what she's doing is affecting everything, opening up the multiverse, like shit is happening outside that they don't even know. Like all these consequences are happening from what she's doing, and they don't know all of it just yet. And I do think that we will see Doctor Strange at some point in this series. Maybe at the very, very end of the season in the last episode, but I do think he'll show up because I think he'll like come to let them know like what's happening here is creating rifts all over in every multiverse, and things are happening and things are shifting. I think that's how they're going to bring the X-Men in here to the MCU. I think that's how they're going to bring the Fox X-Men in here, but maybe not every single character. I think they'll recast some people, but I do think we're going to get MCU moving forward, or X-Men in the MCU moving forward, and I do think they are going to use the word mutant for the first time before this season is over. But this show is changing everything in the MCU going forward. This is meant to reshape everything moving forward. I know it wasn't supposed to be that way. We're supposed to get movies before to start the next phase, but I think this actually worked out kind of perfect if this is going where I think it's going. So, wow, great episode. Best so far, in my opinion. Very close with last week's. I think last week's was great as well. But this one, especially the fact that Vision is now seeing like what's happening, and he knows something else is happening, and she's not telling him what's going on, and he knows something's outside of Westview, but he cannot remember his past beyond what started. And she's talking about how it started as an accident, and she really doesn't know how it started, but it's gotten to this point now. She's controlling everything. Everything keeps changing. And she rolls credits when Vision's trying to talk to her, when she's trying to leave to go to bed. And he even throws like, what are we going to do? Watch TV? Go to bed? And then she throws the credits up, trying to ignore him, and like, it's a whole thing. And I think it's going to get to a point where he's going to try to get out of there, and that it's going to cause a problem. It's going to help my theory, I believe, move along further. But I do think, like I said earlier, this episode cemented the fact that he's back to life. I also forgot to mention that at one point in the beginning, the babies became 5-year-olds. Later in the episode, when the Vision and Wanda are telling them you cannot raise a dog or you can't have a dog until you're 10, they become 10-year-olds. So now they are 10 years old. And I think moving forward, I think we're going to be seeing teenagers next episode. There was a leaked promo for next week's episode. I believe it's still out there if you guys really want to find it. Of course, now they're probably going to release it for real, but it was leaked before this episode came out. So we even knew about Evan Peters before if you watched that leaked promo because he was in it. But again, great episode. Really enjoyed it. I want to know your comments, as always, down below. Theories, comments, what do you guys think? We're going to be getting into this on Casual Rage at 7:15 a.m. on Raging Rhino's channel. His link is in the description if you guys want to come join us. 7:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And of course, we will be discussing this a little bit more on the high ground this Saturday night on the channel at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. So join us then if you guys want a little bit more of a breakdown and an in-depth discussion. Also, talking to a few people about after this is over. I think we're going to go back and we're going to watch all these again, and then we're going to sit down and have a lengthy discussion about the series. So look forward to that. I'm not sure if it's going to be on my channel or whose channel yet, but we'll work out the details and I'll let you guys know either on my Twitter, community tab, things like that. But thank you guys for watching the review. I do appreciate that. Leave a like on the video. It does help us out. Subscribe if you're new and you want to see some more, and hit that bell for notifications so you can stay up to date on everything we release here on the channel, including these WandaVision reviews every Friday. Also, links in the description below for social media, Discord, all the ways you guys can support the channel. Anything you guys can do to help us out, we would really appreciate that. And I want to say thank you to all of my current channel supporters, whether you're channel members, Patreon, Subscribestar, or if you've done a one-time donation. Thank you guys very much for all you do to help to support the channel, and I do appreciate you. All your names will be scrolling at the end in the outro video like normal. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm Jeff. This is the Geek Blend, and remember, if you geek about it, we speak about it. See you guys next time. Have a great weekend. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. And I want to say a special thank you to all of my current channel supporters. You guys mean a lot to me, and I wanted to say thank you. And if you want to become a channel supporter, you can find all the links in the description below. Thank you very much. Hope you all have a great day. See you in the next video.